But further to now, we've played in full the speech that Winston Peters gave at the UN on Saturday. We have talked to a member of the Jewish community in Wellington about this, and I thought for a more official... I do note that the Deputy Foreign Minister of Israel put out a tweet, and I got a message from her office on Saturday, Shireen Haskell, welcoming Mr. Peters' statements to the United Nations. Also a message of support over the weekend from Israel's ambassador to New Zealand, Alon Roth-Snir, who is joining us by video link now. Ambassador, good to see you.
Good morning, Sean.
You must have been heartened by the news that came out of New York on Saturday.
Yeah, I welcome very much the message that came from New York, the New Zealand decision not to recognize a Palestinian state. I think that this is really, this decision really sends clear message to Hamas and to terrorism. Violence and terror will not be rewarded, and the Israeli hostages should come back. I think the message was very clear, and yes, we welcome it.
Are we not, though, in a minority of countries at the United Nations? Most have jumped on the Palestine bandwagon.
Yeah, you know, minorities are not usually mistaken. If we see past history, minorities took the right decisions. And again, I think that such a decision, in contrast to the other decisions that were taken by other countries, will really help us defeating terrorism and not rewarding it. And I think that this is the important thing here. The number is less important.
I talked to Rob Berg from Wellington's Jewish community. Rob says, welcome for Jewish people living here, expat Israelis living here. That's a community that has been under some pressure for 2 years. Is there some hope? And I've also got to say that the general public response to Saturday's vote at the UN has been overwhelmingly positive towards the coalition government and Mr. Peters for the decision they've made. Yet we still seem to have a mainstream media ambassador that is out of step with public sentiment in this country. Is that typical of other countries in the world, that media tend to be less supportive of Israel than the people in general?
That's a very interesting analysis. And to say the truth, I see it sometimes in other reports coming from other places in the world, in which the whole notion of a democracy fighting terror organization, in which the fact that some of the media is taking numbers, figures, photos that are diffused by a terror organization, is the one leading the whole discussion, instead of reminding themselves time and again that we are a democracy fighting a terror organization that committed the atrocities of the 7th of October. This is sometimes missing from the whole conversation. And I'm very happy to be able to rectify it in a way here. The narrative, unfortunately, is the wrong narrative, is the narrative of a terror organization that took 2 million people in Gaza as hostages and human shields. And this is not being mentioned time and again in the media, in some of the Kiwi media, unfortunately, as well, and in international media. Yeah, you're right.
You put out a statement over the weekend. You've been interviewed, I presume, by other New Zealand news organisations?
Yes, I did.
Okay, who's talked to you? TVNZ?
Well, I spoke to RNZ, I spoke to TVNZ. I had the chance to sometimes to openly put our point of view, which is good news, because again, I always think that democracy, and I'm coming from a democracy in which freedom of speech and freedom of press is very important. And I'm very thankful for you for giving us the platform to discuss these issues and to put our perspective on the issue. It's very welcome.
What would you say to critics? Helen Clark, being our former Prime Minister, being the chief person who is leading the charge for Palestine, and also the Labour and Green parties in New Zealand. What would your message be to them who have expressed disappointment and shame at this decision?
You know, everyone is entitled to have its own point of view. I'm just saying that, again, the idea should be not to forget the fact that we are a democracy fighting a terror organization. We have accepted almost every possible proposal that was on the table to end it. We said that we want only two things. We want the hostages back in Israel, and we want Hamas out of Gaza and a demilitarized Gaza, etc. And this should be the most important thing on the table. All the other things should be discussed later. Israel never shied out of discussing anything, any question. But right now, we have to finish this war with this terror organization. Otherwise, I have a feeling that we will see these ideas proliferating elsewhere in the world as well.
Were you surprised that we didn't recognise on Saturday?